What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Chef. We are back, and you already know what time it is. It is time for a YAK pod, episode number 36. Now, we got some good old-fashioned down-homes cooking to talk about today. But before we get started with that, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and subscribe. Hit that little button down there. Turn on the notifications. Also, smash the like button and share it with the people. It helps me get the algorithm on my side, and if you are enjoying this content, you want the algorithm on my side. Now let's go ahead and get to it. A bit of breaking news. While this is being recorded, a few minutes before this was being recorded, the Detroit Lions signed Pro Bowl guard Kevin Zeitler. They haven't officially signed him yet, but he intends to sign with the team. He is flying to Detroit tonight to go ahead and take a physical. If everything goes well in that physical, passes the medicals, everything's clean, he will be signing a 1-year deal in Detroit. He will be replacing Jonah Jackson. Went to the Pro Bowl last year. Jonah Jackson has also been to one Pro Bowl, but Jonah Jackson was in the Pro Bowl 3 years ago, 2021. I distinctly remember people talking about how this free agency class was a dud and how everybody in the NFC North just got better, and the Detroit Lions have done nothing to get better. We look at someone like Greeny over there on Get Up, and he was talking all that noise about how the Detroit Lions have missed their opportunity. Their window was last year to win a championship. They missed it. They're not going to do anything because they have been surpassed by the Green Bay Packers. And I ask you, what have the Green Bay Packers done in this offseason to make you believe that they have surpassed the Detroit Lions? Let me tell you what the Detroit Lions have done. We've bolstered our secondary. Amik Robertson, if you haven't checked out his press conference, go ahead and check it out from today. He might be pushing somebody like a Cam Sutton. He just might be. One thing that stood out, one quote that stood out, he said, as a college player, a rookie coming into the NFL, he was ready to play. But now he feels prepared to play. And we've seen how he plays. We've seen his coverage skills, his ball skills. We've seen his makeup speed, his recovery speed. We've seen these things. We've seen the way that he flips his hips. We've seen his positioning. We've seen it all. The only knock on him right now for us is that he's 5'9". And oh, by the way, Christian Watson is, how tall is Christian Watson? 6'2", 6'3"? Yeah, he climbed the ladder and hung in the air and sealed that game against the Packers. He's familiar with the Packers. He's familiar with the NFC North because they played us all this year. They played the Vikings. They played the Bears. They played the Lions. They played the Packers. So he's going up against the opponents that he's going to go up against. Well, he didn't go up against Keenan Allen. Okay, that's fine. If Keenan Allen plays both of the games against us this season, I will be surprised. Keenan Allen is an injury risk. We already know that. He will miss stretches of games. They signed Josh Jacobs. What did Josh Jacobs do against us when he was playing for the Raiders? I think like maybe 40 yards, something like that. He didn't do a whole lot. This was the number 2 defense when it came to stopping the run. And oh, by the way, DJ Reader. DJ Reader is a man who is not only a physically dominant football player, but he is an intelligent football player. And this is one of the things, if you watched what I was saying about Stephon Gilmore, about how he was a coach on the field, the technique that DJ Reader uses is a technique where he is able to react to the lineman in front of him. He's able to react to the guard. He's able to react to him. And he's able to make plays in the backfield even if he doesn't make the tackle. Even if he doesn't make the tackle, he can recognize the scheme that the offensive line is running very quickly. First step of the guard, he knows where he's going. right? If he takes a counter step to the left side and the play is running to the right side, if the guard is crossing his face, that play is going to the right side. He's diagnosed that with the first step. He understands blocking schemes. He understands what the offense is trying to do to him on the other side. He understands those things, and he's able to go ahead and make plays by either clogging up the middle, causing you to have to double team him, or by making the tackle in the backfield. I mean, it's pick your poison. And now our defensive line went from somewhat of a weakness to a strength. Let's not forget James Houston. I always say this. Let's not forget that we have a problem in a good way, right? Because that's his nickname. He's not a problem child. He's not a problem with character. He's not a problem person. No, he's a problem on the football field. 8 sacks in 7 games his rookie season. Last season was lost to injury. We know that, but that happens. You know, a broken ankle. It wasn't like an ACL tear or an Achilles or anything like really, really serious. I mean, obviously, when you break a bone, it's serious, but generally, when you break a bone, there's not really any lingering damage. When you tear a tendon, that's, things that be more difficult to come back from. But we've got that guy. We know we've got Marcus Davenport. Because I don't know what Marcus Davenport is going to give us as far as health. But like I have said before, last season was the outlier where he missed the vast majority of the season. He's averaging 4.5 games per season that he's missing, which isn't great. But if he's now in a rotation, he's not expected to be the guy. He'll be fresher and hopefully less injured. So I'm not really understanding like what everyone else did. I mean, Xavier McKinney, he's a dog. He's a good safety. But now with Kevin Zeitler there, I mean, we don't really even have to pass the ball. I mean, we're going to pass the ball. We've got J-Mo, who's expected to step up and compete for the second receiver job. We re-signed DPJ. DPJ is a good receiver. He's a depth piece. Maybe Josh Reynolds doesn't come back. As the days go by and by and by, as days pass, it doesn't look like Josh Reynolds is going to come back, but he could come back. That is something that's possible. Will he come back? Like I said, I don't know. But now that Kevin Zeitler is in the fold, you can go out and get yourself an Xavier Legette or Brian Thomas Jr. You can trade up. You can make a splash. You can go ahead and get you a Dallas Turner. As I have said before, we are pick number 29. I have seen Dallas Turner go as low in the top 10 as 10 and 9. We are pick number 29. Remember, we have a guy named J-Mo who we picked number 12, moving up from the Los Angeles Rams number 32 pick. How many spots is that? It's 20 spots. So we've seen Brad Holmes move up 20 spots before. We've seen Brad Holmes with this down Holmes cooking before in the draft. That is on the table. If they really like Dallas Turner and he's sitting there at 8, I mean, you've shored up your offensive line. You shored up your secondary. You shored up your defensive line. I mean, we've seen the Quandre Diggs and then the Snacks Harrison interaction on Twitter, where Snacks Harrison says the only news that we need right now is Quandre Diggs or Nino to Detroit. And Nino replied with, "Look at you, man. I'm just over here at home minding my business." It's on the radar. It could happen. It's available for us. So with those things available and with those things on the radar, I mean, you're pretty much shoring up all your needs in free agency, which is what Brad Holmes said he would do. That's what he likes to do. This has been Brad Holmes' best free agency class since he's been the general manager of the Detroit Lions. And guess what I've been saying? Guess what I said before free agency started? We've not seen Brad Holmes with money. We haven't seen him with money. He didn't come in with the ability to spend. There were bad contracts on the books. Trey Flowers was still on the books. To a lesser extent, Jamie Collins was still on the books. Like, we had bad contracts on the books that hamstrung us and made us unable to do certain things, spend certain amounts of money. So I said, we haven't seen Brad Holmes with money. We don't know what the contract details of the Kevin Zeitler deal will be, but again, it's a 1-year deal. He's trying to get a ring. You know, he played against us when the Ravens mollywopped us and still is selecting the Detroit Lions in free agency. Something has to be going right here. Even an opponent that absolutely dog walked you and was part of the reason that they just ran all types of yards against you, he still wants to come here. Maybe he feels that the performance in the NFC Championship game on our end was better than the performance in the AFC Championship game on the Ravens end. Maybe he looks at that game that he was a part of and says, we weren't even really close to getting there. And Kansas City is just not that team that we're going to get over the hump with. But then he looks over to the Detroit Lions and says, I mean, they had the San Francisco 49ers right where they want them, but they just let them off the hook. Maybe I can go over there and offer some veteran leadership, some advice, some coaching, you know, because one thing that Brad Holmes is signing, he's signing intelligent players. He is signing players with high football IQ, or FBI as they call it, football intelligence. I mean, they've got some young guards over there. I mean, we're not particularly high on Kobe Sorsdale and Keoti Iosika. But, again, they are going to be getting coached up. I mean, we've got the new defensive line coach, Terrell Williams. As I've been saying, Dan Campbell said he's the best defensive line coach in the NFL. These things are not by coincidence. And these things are things that the national media is not seeing or not paying attention to. Do you think Mike Greenberg was really thinking about Terrell Williams when he made that comment? Do you think that he was thinking about Deshae Townsend? Do you think he was thinking about the departure of John Scott Jr.? Do you think he was thinking about these things from a coaching standpoint that are going to assist this team to take more steps? Probably not. They're just looking at names like some of us fans do. We're just looking at the names. Oh my God, Christian Wilkins went here. This guy went there. You know, Danielle Hunter went here. Yeah, that's what they look at. That's what they do. That's their job. They're hot take artists. But as fans of the Detroit Lions, we look a little bit deeper because all we do, we're hungry for Lions content. We just sit there and we consume Lions content every single day. Every single day. I mean, it's like the off season is just as busy for us as the regular season. And with the regular season, we may not be as hungry for as much content because we have games every Sunday, except for the bye week. We want to talk about the game. We want to break down the game, what happened in it, if we won, if we lost, what was good, what was bad, who did what, who played well, who played poorly, who can improve, all those things. We spend a lot of time with that. But the off season is like there's desperation. There's desperation for content. So we like whatever it is. If it's a coach that got signed, we're looking at that coach. If it's a player that got signed, we're looking at that player. So if you don't like the Kevin Zeitler signing, if you think he's too old or whatever the case may be, go ahead and put on some tape. Obviously, it's not sexy tape. It's lineman tape. Me, as a former skill position player, running back and cornerback, that's not sexy tape to me. But to the lineman lovers, and I understand the importance of linemen. I'll never poo-poo a lineman. But we all know it's not sexy tape. It's not flashy tape, right? But just look at what you're seeing. Go back and look at what Kevin Zeitler did to us. Just go back and look. Just put the tape on, man. This is an excellent, excellent signing. Brad Holmes is serving up that down Holmes cooking once again. And that's what he's been doing all off season. Bro, the draft is wide open. I'm telling you, it's wide open right now. It's wide open. And he's going to do whatever he wants. He's going to move up the board. He's going to move down the board, whatever he wants to do, because the holes are pretty much filled. The holes are pretty much filled. Can we think of any other holes that we have to fill on this roster? We needed secondary depth. We got secondary depth in Amik Robinson. We needed a corner opposite Cam Sutton to start. We have a starting corner in Carlton Davis III. We needed defensive line help. We got that in DJ Reader because we needed like somebody better than a Benito Jones and an Isaiah Buggs and that revolving door of defensive tackles that was going on next to Aleem McNeil. Hey, that's done. Marcus Davenport again. I'm tempering my expectations till we can see him stay healthy. If he's able to stay healthy, I told you that man is a dog. He played 11 games in 2021 and had 9 sacks. He played 11 games in 2021 and he had 9 sacks. He's going to be on the opposite end of Aiden Hutchinson. He's going to be rotating with James Houston. Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, Aleem McNeil, Marcus Davenport all got better by the signing of DJ Reader. Again, like I said, Amik Robinson might be pushing Cam Sutton. Who knows? He is a dog. We know that. So now the secondary, we could use some pieces. Obviously, you never can have too many quality corners and safeties. We're probably going to get those in the draft. Maybe not the first round, maybe not the second. You know, we may get it in the third. We may address it in the second. But the needs are slowly dwindling. And this is not over. This is not finished. We're in the second week of free agency. And there are still some names out there. Jadeveon Clowney is not signed yet. Carl Lawson is not signed yet. There are still some names out there if we want to talk about edge. And we want to talk about edge defenders, edge rushers, and edge setters. They're still available. So y'all can keep playing with Brad Holmes if you want to. Y'all can keep sleeping on Brad Holmes if you want to keep sleeping on him. And you could keep saying that this ain't a great free agency period and Brad Holmes isn't making the moves that he needs to make for this team to make this team not incrementally better, but astronomically better. Weaknesses becoming strengths. Depth where we didn't have it before. Bro, this is a championship team. And it's only getting better because Brad Holmes is cooking up these championship moves. And you got to love it, man. So keep coming back. Keep getting this down Holmes cooking. I love it. You should love it. Everybody should love it. And I'm excited to see what continues to happen in the free agency period and what happens in the draft. And I'm ready to run through a brick wall. I wish we had a game this Sunday. I'm telling you now, I wish we had a game this Sunday, because we know when the draft comes, Brad Holmes is going to cook. He does it every year. He has not had one bad draft class. The only pick that you really can poo-poo is the Levi Onwuzurike pick, because he just, came in with a back injury, just wasn't healthy, hasn't really looked great since he's been on the field, or when he's been on the field. But then again, it was like he wasn't given a huge chance to be on the field anyway. So if we're going to say something about that, the iffy pick wasn't looking that great until, the second half of last season. So, once we give these guys the opportunity 2-3 years to pan out, because generally that's what happens. You don't grade a draft class when it happens. You wait about 3 years to see what these people have become. I mean, this draft class that we just had, you don't even have to wait. We know the electrician Jahmyr Gibbs. We know Jack Campbell is going to get better. He's going to continue to get better. We know Sam Laporta is a second-team All-Pro. We know Brian Branch is an absolute dog. We know these things. And these were the people that he drafted. We don't know what Hendon Hooker is yet, because he hadn't had the opportunity to kind of show us what he is, because he came in off a torn ACL. And last year he was just learning. This year he's actually going to get to practice and play in the preseason and, do things in training camp. And he may be a very, very capable backup to Jared Goff. And whenever, the Jared Goff experience is over in Detroit, we may have our quarterback of the future right there on the roster right now. What a time. What a time to be alive. What a time to be a Detroit Lions fan. If you agree, let me know in the comments. If you don't agree, let me know in the comments. It is what it is, man. This is a great signing. This free agency period is going great, and I just can't wait till the draft. But that is it. That is all the time that I have for today. As always, subscribe, smash that like button like it did something to you, share, let everybody know. Be the type of friend that tells another friend, and let them know what's going on in this kitchen, because we are cooking up. And we are sampling some of that down Holmes cooking every single day, Monday through Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Holla at your boy. Until next time, peace.